Nutrition Month at NASM, and that means you can get one free nutrition course each week in March. Click the link in the description for details.
Hey everyone, happy Wednesday and welcome to our We Speak series here on the Alpha channel. My name is Katrina Pilkington and I will be your host today as we dive into topics surrounding equity and inclusion in our community here in the fitness industry and group fitness. So today's topic, we're going to be discussing 5 tips for being an impactful GFI, which is another fancy acronym for group fitness instructor, and unlocking how we can really get into being impactful in our communities, whether it's virtual or in person. And I'm going to be talking to 2 guests today here who are joining me. I'm going to go ahead and explain a little bit about their amazing experience and then introduce them into just a little bit of a dialogue. But if you're watching this live and you have some commentary or a question, please don't hesitate to comment and we will try to answer those during our about 25-30 minutes together. I have both Kia and Tasha here with me today. Hello, friends.
Hello.
Yay. It's like we get to hang out at the same time. So I'm going to try to stay super focused and read to you a little bit about these 2 wonderful women in my life. And I'm going to also dive into letting them discuss some great tips to help you really make an impact in your community. So we will start with Kia, who you have seen here on the show with me many times. So let me get this right, you 2, because you're both RYT is registered yoga trainer.
Teacher, yes.
Teacher. I'm going to get it right because I don't teach yoga. That's why I have those 2, right? So Kia is a 200-hour registered yoga teacher, a global presenter, master educator, and host of Fit and Fierce on the Mic. It's a podcast that you should definitely look up. And she serves on multiple boards for fitness and wellness education, as well as writing for multiple publications. She has managed several fitness and performance wellness programs and facilities and uses her transferable professional skills and experience in fitness to mentor young professionals, support multicultural engagement, and make fitness accessible, inclusive, and feasible for the masses. Her career mission is to really support people and help affect marginalized individuals in jobs, education, healthcare, and really increase this lack of representation that we have in our fitness industry. So welcome back, Ms. Kia.
Thank you for having me.
And I think, Tasha, this is your first time on our show.
It is.
Yay.
It is.
I mean, we've known each other for such a long time in different circles, but I have to remember like where I am in the moment. Sasha Edwards is a 250-hour registered yoga teacher. She's a native of Chicago. She's currently in Alabama. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, I remember that.
Yes.
She began her fitness career selling memberships at a local gym in 2004. And since then, she's earned a 500-hour Pilates certification, as well as, like I said, her 250 registered yoga teacher certification, as well as being also an AFA personal trainer and group fitness instructor with 20 plus additional specialty fitness certifications. She's a certified integrative health and quantum coach and also a contributing blogger for Pilates Anytime, as well as Balanced Body, and is an instructor on, is it John Gary TV? That was recent. Yes. I saw that. Amazing.
Yeah.
She holds degrees in both sociology and counseling and spends her time focused on inclusive and accessible wellness for all, currently creating a nonprofit to continue to live out that mission. We've been all doing so much in the past year and a half, so I'm very blessed to be here with the 2 of you. Welcome again.
Thank you.
So talking about how to be impactful in our community, we've talked a lot on this series about different ways to be equitable, making fitness accessible, how to be more of an inclusive coach in the spaces of which you occupy. So today we're going to dive into 5 tips that we feel will be really helpful to dive into how to be impactful in the communities in which we occupy. So I want to start by letting both of these guests give like a 60-second bit on the wellness and fitness space that they're in right now, as well as maybe a fun fact about each one of you. I'll let Kia go first.
Sure. What am I up to these days? Still staying at home, social distancing, or rather physical distancing. I'm way more socially involved than ever before, but mostly from, through social technology. So from my computer, my phone, my podcast, things like that. Doing lots and lots of writing and able to engage with people from truly around the world for their fitness and wellness needs as a coach and mentor. So that's a great time. A fun fact. Oh my gosh. Am I a fun person, Katrina? I don't
Yeah.
know.
So much fun.
A fun fact. I love volunteering with children and with animals.
I was going to say, I was like, she loves her animals.
I love my animals.
One thing I know about Kia. Thank you so much for sharing. What about you, Tasha? Let them know a little bit about you.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm everywhere right now. And so I do still teach locally at a Pilates studio. I was in and out of some gyms, but I have a herniated disc. So my other physical teaching has kind of come to a standstill, but I'm still doing community classes. I'll teach Zumba here or there. Sometimes I just teach it online for free just to have fun. John Geary, I usually have a video released every week or every other week on there. And so, of course, John Geary has just on YouTube, he has like 65,000 followers. And so it has been awesome to connect to people in different places that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And of course, I just relaunched my podcast yesterday. Yeah. And I seem to be in a lot of IG lives and podcasts lately while still having a kid going through virtual school. So, yeah.
It's being all over the place, which is, all three of us have just learned to adapt and pivot, for lack of a better term, and just really take all the experiences that we've been given through this space, whether it's through education, certifications, and just lived experience, which I think is definitely first and foremost, and really trying to help mentor other humans who are trying to figure their lives out in this space. So let's dive into the 5 tips that we've kind of collaboratively put together. And I will start with tip 1, which for me is huge. And that's in every stage of my career. And that's being authentic, right? Being yourself and understanding that relatability breeds connection, which breeds the ability to make a change in the lives of others. I've tried many times to do different things in this industry. And every time I've tried to do what other people are doing or get distracted and stay not true to myself, I've gotten really lost. But staying true to who I am, what my purpose is, and what kind of like my moral code and ethics are, it's really helped me hone in on what avenues I want to go down. What about the two of you?
Oh, that's really good, Katrina, because people will fall in love with you for who you are. There are plenty of other people out there for us to be involved with, but there's only one Katrina Pilkington. There's only one Michael Jackson. So I don't care whoever learns to master the moonwalk, we still only know one Michael Jackson. So be true to you. I would say for creating an impactful engagement or experience is to also create a compelling vision. One, of course, that you stand firm with your authentic self, one that you eat, sleep, live, and breathe, one that your community can get behind as well, so that we can see the steps, we can see the finish line, and all of the goals seem obtainable. Yeah. And it's a vision. We see it, we feel it, we idealize it. And it becomes sort of our own mission statement of this is what we are working towards as a team, as a community that we want to accomplish.
Yeah, it's really easy when you jump into this world to get lost in everything and get overwhelmed with the skills, but always remembering, stay true to who you are and what's important to you and create that vision, whether it's on paper or on your phone. If you're a techie person, I'm still a pen and paper person, but making sure you are authentic to what your vision is. And that way, every time you do something, or maybe if something does come onto your desk or a project, that you align it with that vision. And if it's not aligned with it, maybe it's not something you want to do right now. So those are 2 great tips. And we're going to dive into another tip now from Tasha. Teach and live, not live to teach, which I definitely want her to touch on.
Yeah, because I think that just connects back to what you both said. I'm going to say more towards your vision and your authenticity, less away from your ego, just to have the titles. I think we do people a disservice to just acquire certifications because it makes us feel good and then return to our spaces not in excellence. And I think it's a setup to for burnout specifically, but also you're training just to be the teacher, but it's not really an integral part of your life. So people don't see you in the walking. What they see you as is the leader. And that should never be enough. So yeah, that's how I feel about that for sure. That teaching should increase my lifestyle, increase my health, increase my wellness. And I'm not so much worried about how it increases my resume.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I know conferences for me are a big fun part of what I miss about being in person with everyone, but I would get so overwhelmed with information and content, even now when they're virtual. And I love what I learn, but all that skill and all those CEUs really don't translate into what I do in other folks' lives. To your point, Tasha, like I know that you teach somewhat. I actually don't teach as much as I used to, if at all at the moment. But everything that I've done has been to remind me that my life has to be in balance with what I'm doing in this industry. So we can't just keep grinding out physical labor. We have to really kind of translate what we're doing in group fitness into what we see as our purpose in life, right? So yeah, that's definitely something I want everybody to take away. So we have tip 1, be authentic. Tip 2, create and lead a compelling vision. So going back to tip 2 just for a second, Kia, what do you think are some things that group fitness instructors should do right now if they literally are clueless on what their vision is?
On what their vision is, get to know yourself, spend some time with yourself. If you haven't been doing that during COVID-19, truly understand who you are and your why. Yes, Simon Sinek, your why for what you do. And as Tasha, I just realized we share the same last name. Are we related?
Actually, my last name is Edwards, but we can be sisters today. We can be sisters today.
We can be sisters. We're
sisters. We're sisters.
I love it. Where was I with that squirrel? But no, truly get to know yourself and get to know your audience. Honestly, why are they coming to you? And what is it that you can provide and deliver to them safely, effectively, equitably, responsibly? Yes. Those accumulate to your why. What's your passion? What's your passion-driven project? What's your purpose-driven project? Yes. And all of these should encapsulate envelop what your vision is for how you see yourself moving forward, serving this community or serving this niche of yours, and how you're going to keep it going for years to come, hopefully years to come.
Right. I think it's really easy to get lost in, like we talked about already, the technicality, the skills. But sometimes when I stop and I have to remember that I'm in service of other folks instead of it being in service of what I want to do, that's what kind of changes the whole scope of your classes. Like I know for you, Tasha, you do a lot of work in your community. So how has it been shifting kind of what you're doing in person and online and into what you're doing, like even virtually with your on demand?
Going back to what Kia said about vision, I will tell you the biggest shift for me right now is reconnecting to my why. And I say that because when people are like, well, what do you do? Do you just teach Pilates? And I'm like, no, I teach a lot of things. Some of that, and I've discussed this previously before, that it was the pressure of being the older Black thick girl in the industry, feeling like I needed everything to be seen as legitimate. But my vision is I help people move, and then I teach them to move better. So there's a skill set that I have, some of which was ego driven, which I haven't stuck with. And the other part was having multiple tools to help the people that were in my space, in my community, as well as bring things that weren't in my community. Like I'm pretty sure I was an adult before I ever heard of yoga. And I grew up in the hood. There's no yoga studios, no gyms, and then I think I was almost 30 before I took my first Pilates class, and I didn't know what a reformer even was, all of these tools and tricks about that particular, space of fitness until I was in my 30s, and so part of my work during this virtual time is how to translate that to people who may not have the money to access all the things you see online, and to make it accessible, because no one should be disqualified because of their bank account. Everybody's God-given right is to be healthy and well. And so that's been my work. It's a translating, and sometimes that's Zumba and, sometimes it's laying on a mat, and it might be downward facing dog, but it's thinking about the community's needs and opening up spaces that haven't been available before. So,
yep, we want to take away that intimidation factor. I know that's one reason why the three of us, I know for sure, are very open about our personal journeys and share a lot with other folks, because we want to kind of disarm this whole intimidation factor with wellness, you know, and just as we openly share about our vision, is we maybe, you know, trigger some of our viewers to maybe tap into their vision. I know for me, it's kind of the same thing. I want to, with students, help them feel liberated with their health and wellness by taking charge and controlling the controllable. And then when I work with fitness professionals, really working on biases and helping them unpack what their personal biases and self-work needs to be before they even think to serve their community, so that it comes from a place of a little bit more of impartiality versus that really subjective way of training and teaching. So, you know, it's whatever really moves you. It's whatever moves everyone that's watching to dive into fitness. I mean, why did you come into this industry? We know it's not just because you wanted to make the money, because, I mean, let's be honest, because that's not what the fitness industry is about. It's about really serving your community. So diving into who you are, what compels you to really move folks and help them move, and then really understand that there's a balance to your life. I mean, how much has COVID and I don't even want to call it 2020 into 2021 taught the two of you about balance in this space when it comes to life and work?
What is balance?
I mean, I try to exhibit some, I mean, I have no choice really. I have a 4-year-old helping me balance, but I mean, it's easy to work more right now, isn't it?
It truly is easier to work more. And although we deem accessibility a good thing, we want to be accessible and we want to create accessible spaces. Oh my goodness. Now that we are Zooming, booming, Instagramming, Facebooking more often, people feel like, she's right there. You know, if I see the green light, she's online. That means she's here to serve me. So what I've learned in this space, because as you mentioned before, Katrina, we got into this industry, speaking for myself, I got into this industry because I really do want to serve other people. I want to help people move better, feel better, live longer. I truly do. That is my passion. But for so long as a service provider, I've been pouring into other people's cup, putting other people's needs before my own. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you can't love yourself, who the heck's gonna love you next? I'm sure I got that wrong, RuPaul, please forgive me. But being forced to truly stay at home and be there for myself, I learned more about myself. I learned my own ticks, you know, my own quirks, things that get on my own nerves, you know. But I focused more in on my star player, who should be myself. How can I better perform so I can, you know, live through that mission and vision of mine to better serve other people? I've got to take better care of myself. So 2020 waving into 2021, I've really done a better job, a better due diligence of making sure that I'm practicing what I preach, and I'm truly taking care of my own personal wellness.
Yeah, I think for a lot of us, and I'm sure Tasha can agree too, is that we all, I mean, I can speak for myself. I panicked a little bit. What do I do? How do I shift my career? What am I supposed to be doing? And I kind of hustled harder just to make sure I gravitated towards whatever I needed to gravitate towards to make it stick. And then I had to stick my landing and then find the balance. So kind of expand upon that for you too, Tasha. How do you ensure that your health and wellness come first, which is our 4th tip?
Yeah, you know, and I think that kind of combines with what would have been my 5th tip, but I'm going to come back to that. It was there was a panic. I mean, I lost half of my clientele, you know, because I'm still personal training. And it was I think fitness had always been seen as a hustle.
Right.
And so it's kind of hard to disengage from that mentality when that's what you're used to doing, you know, and if you're not hustling, you're not working, you know, hustle and grind, all of these things that we have been told. And then, like you said, not just online, but I became very accessible because all of these local people are now like, we don't have classes. We don't have a trainer. Can you come to my church and teach? Can you do this? Can you come to my house? Can I come to your house? Can I meet you in the park? You know, and when you've lost your income, it's like, okay, how much can I do to make sure my car note is paid next month? You know, like that sort of thing. And the balance came when other opportunities came to me, skill sets that I had not been tapping into. And I realized that, again, kind of going into the last tip that I had, was it wasn't so much pain on my body. I'm getting older.
Right.
And so I was learning a way to translate,
right.
Into other spaces, because part of the whole self-care and taking care of yourself is about, when I said training to be well, is I rehabbed just to come back to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was never about me. I needed just enough strength in my knee and my shoulder and my Achilles to get back in there on that mic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think this time, let's be honest, being able to take naps, coming upstairs, like instead of having to get in my car.
Yeah. Puts me down for a nap.
Girl, that's like my favorite thing to do these days.
I'm telling you, it was like I needed a timeout.
Yeah.
And going into the store with a mask on and a hat, people didn't identify me and want to talk to me about their abs and stuff like that. Yeah. But the time that we spent not commuting, I was teaching at multiple places all week. And so finding that and realizing, Kia, I loved what you said about your star player, that I realized that I was sacrificing myself for my career. And here I am, headed super fast on the express train to 50 with all of these injuries. And I had time to say, wow, my body feels better. Like, those sort of things. And that has been the balance. This kid in virtual school, we still working on that.
Like, can we just find some sort of balance with these children that I know many moms can relate to in this world? Like, or caretakers too. Yeah. I always say you can't pour from an empty cup. So, I mean, as guilty as I can sometimes feel in the morning when I have to like peel myself out of bed and do my workout before I worry about everybody else and my self-sanity, I can't. Because I can only serve everyone else, including my household and my students and my clients, better if I'm taken care of. If I'm not taken care of, I'm just flopping around giving half effort, which is not in my wheelhouse. So take care of yourself.
Yeah, because you end up being a puppet.
Yep.
It's like, oh, Kia, you're I can only take your class though. You're the instructor that I love. And so because I love you, will you teach this extra class for me?
Yeah.
And so one of my foundations is to not be moved by praise or blame. And we know you get both.
Yep.
As a fitness instructor, I don't think people understand that as many people who love us, there are some who don't. And to be able to find our way for what not just brings us joy in living out our vision, but also maintaining our peace, because we just can't be everything for everybody.
No, you'll come apart very easily. That's what I have to remind myself. And along with that, our last tip, which is very important, but kind of all ties into everything together, is supporting community engagement. Yes. So when I talk about, for me personally, my career working with fitness professionals to unpack their bias, for me, it's because I know that there's people who aren't being helped because of old and really senseless assumptions. And there's no community if people are being judged. There's no community if we're using old diet myths and old data to either train or not treat someone correctly. So that's kind of my lane. How do the two of you really work on supporting community engagement as you balance everything, have your vision, etc.?
Well, understanding and knowing my community, absolutely. Knowing that we all are going through huge shifts and changes in life, and how are we able to better support and speak each other's love language to show that support. To me, group fitness has always been about community. We're all packing into a room, sweating together, moving to the same rhythm or beat on the same 8 count. Oh, it's a good time. High fives all around.
Sometimes.
But then when we had to, scale back and take things away from that, I have interviewed professional counselors and therapists to really dissect and get down to the nitty-gritty of understanding how COVID-19 has affected the mental capacity and the social wellness of people who engage in group fitness, and how we can better serve them once we are able to safely open our doors to capacity or what have you. And as Tasha mentioned, on her own wellness journey of rehabilitating herself physically to get back to work, now we're talking about rehabilitating ourselves mentally as service providers, so that we're able to better serve a different community in a way. Maybe the faces are the same, you know, maybe it's people we've known from the past, but we've all changed so much. And to better communicate to those changes and to those new needs that we all have is how we can truly redevelop our community and make it stronger than ever. What I really love seeing what's happening online in the fitness community from fitness professionals is way more collaboration than ever before. So collaboration and building a stronger community on our end as the professionals. And that easily translates to those who engage with us, to those who consume our products and our services. So I truly do believe that we are coming back stronger than ever as a community. And with the community that I've directly served, I love how, as we were just talking about, how they have ownership in our business and in me, you know, and I mean, not ownership, but they're team players, and they're not gonna let their favorite instructor go hungry. They're gonna make sure that we're able to turn the lights back on when it's able to open our doors again, because that is the community, that is the family that we've developed. People feel at home with us, they feel safer with us, and they just want to see us back and better than ever.
Right. Like staying vested in folks makes them vested in us. And, you know, just going along with what Kia said, even if you don't hear the 8 count, it's okay. You don't have to always hear the 8 count. Any closing statements with that tip, Tasha? And then also I want the two of you to let folks know how they can find you online and stay connected.
You know, what I have been sharing, personal experience and teaching, you know, clients and students, is about grace and grace space. I think that people are now owning that there is no such thing as perfection. We may have known it, but I think that competitive nature sometimes that we may have had in communities unspoken is now that people are like, COVID got us all, you know? And so the grace to say, I was actually depressed. You know, I was supposed to work out. I just couldn't. And to be okay with the fact that maybe you needed a break, you know, mentally or physically. And the gray space is doing what works for you at that particular time. So maybe in 2018, you were a power lifter. Now you have a different set of responsibilities, a different set of stressors, and it's okay to lift without beating records. You know, so it's not that we're complacent because we still have goals. We're content and okay with where we are on our journeys. And so that conversation has actually, I feel like myself included, has given me more space to go towards my goals, because now it's not a hard stop. Like it has to be this. Again, if COVID taught us anything, it is that we think we have control over stuff and we don't.
Absolutely not. You know, and I love that, having grace with one another, you know, and I always kind of tell myself, like, every drip of sweat on anyone is earned. It's not given, and it counts. It doesn't have to be completely performative and align with a pace, a stat, or a goal. So, and I know, Tasha, folks can find you at Hip Healthy Chick on Instagram. Is that across all channels? Yes. All across.
I just
wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And what about you, Kia? Any closing remarks, and how can folks find you online?
Oh, absolutely. Tasha, thank you. Grace and space is definitely what we need to allow ourselves and those around us. How about we practice a little bit more kindness and empathy these days? How about that? That'd be nice. You can find me, you can connect with me on all social at KiaWilliams.official. fitness, and I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you again for the time that my two guests took to hang out and pretty much just chitter chatter while other folks were flies on the wall in our conversation. If you have any other input or questions, feel free to comment on Facebook in our comment section. And I will also be sharing on Instagram. I am FittyCat with a K on Instagram. And join us next week as we continue more conversations in this We Speak series. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.